And then I learned that there was CCTV footage from the gym. He's still filming, and then he pushes Jeff over by his throat. I said, I gotta get my hands on this footage. I need to tell the full story. And then after this, according to his statement, he grabbed him by the throat. Again. Right there.
All right, I'm sure you guys have been keeping up with the trending situation. You guys know all about the Jeff Nippard and Mike Van Wyck situation. If you guys don't know that, well, essentially to summarize it, they're just two bodybuilders that have been going at it, right? They just have two different training principles, and I guess they've been just, honestly, they've been just at each other's throat about it, right? So you got Mike Van Wyck on the other side. He's the one that started it all, right? Because he made like a vague video criticizing all the science guys and how they train and all. And then you got like Jeff Nippard, who's all about science, man, right? This dude is natural, and yo, his body is actually good. I'm not gonna lie, his body is beyond normal, man. I'm telling you, he knows what he's talking about. Guy's smart as hell. This Mike Van Wyck guy, essentially he was just saying that like it sucks how nowadays you got these science guys complicate things when they shouldn't be complicated. To summarize it, you know, he was kind of taking shots at Jeff Nippards. So Jeff Nippards kind of replied to it. The way he replied to it was kind of like in a genius way, you know. He kind of replied with his stats, right, about how he won bodybuilding shows, how he broke records on powerlifting and all, right? So it's been quite interesting. If you guys haven't seen the video, literally watch my last video. It's gonna explain it to you more in depth. On one hand, we have this guy named Jeff Nippard. He's a science-based guy. He's actually really big on YouTube and stuff like that, and he offers really good advices. And on the other hand, you have another dude also here. He's an icon, but he's not as big as the other guy, the science-based dude, but he's pretty big on his own too. Now they are two different distinct characters. One is like 5'5", that being the science dude, and then the other dude is like a huge dude, bro. He's like 6 foot whatever, all jacked up. He's on drugs, right? Tattooed up. Like, look at him, bro. It's a huge difference, right? All right, in today's video though, we have the missing video footage of Jeff Nippard, Mike Van Wyck at the gym where this all took places. I know there was piece and bits. A lot of people were saying this and that, and other people were saying that and this, you know what I mean? So now we're gonna see this actual footage, this raw footage, unedited, right? And we're gonna make assumptions based on that. Now, one thing to also make clear, guys, we weren't in this situation. We didn't see this eye to eye. We're just reacting to what we see, right? Which is the footage, right? So I mean, people are gonna say a lot of stuff. People are they're gonna argue this and that. They're gonna be on the other person's side. They're gonna be on the other one. You know, we don't care about that, right? We're here to just react on the video and give our take on it. So without further ado, click like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think. And yeah, let's go.
Cameraman is pointing at Mike. Mike says something to him. I'm assuming it's about the camera.
First of all, I want to start off with Jeff Nippard's status. I feel like this is quite important because this is his account, his version of literally what happened. So he just posted his status here, right? He was like, first, I just want to give an update that I got a CT scan done today and I'm okay. In case you didn't see it, this is exactly what happened, and there were many witnesses. Mike Van Wyck jabbed me in the throat twice in the middle of the gym and then shoved my cameraman. There is already a lie going around that Mike asked me to stay away from him and that I didn't listen and approached him first. This is false, and Pure Muscle Fitness has security footage to prove it. I think they should release it. This is exactly what happened. And then he says, as I was filming bicep curls for YouTube shorts, Mike brushed by me and said, "Sup?" This was our first engagement that day. I chuckled. Mike said, "Oh, things are about to get real funny," as he walked past me. Then I asked him what did he mean by that, and I made sure my cameraman was filming in case he tried any funny business. Then he walked back towards me. He said, "Turn the camera off," and immediately jabbed at me in the throat and I fell on the floor. Pure Muscle Fitness allows filming, by the way, so I stood back up, told me to never talk about him again. Then he jabbed me in the throat a second time. Then he turned to my videographer and pushed him against the cable machine. Then he walked away. That's the full story. There is gym security footage to prove it. It's up to the gym if they want to release it. As of right now, Pure Muscle and Fitness is still allowing Mike to train his clients at the gym. I also want to say I really appreciate the outpouring of support from the community and other gym members. It's honestly making the situation a lot easier to deal with. Thank you so much, whatever. And then at the bottom he says, I don't know why he attacked me. Other than that, he really hates my training style. I certainly gave them absolutely no reason to hate me. And even if I did, there is no excuses to physically attack someone over disagreement. My opinion is that it was a result of anger brought on by the clip I posted yesterday responding to his question about a science-based training. Pretty wild stuff. So if you guys haven't seen again that clip, it's on my last video, which will be linked up here.
Science guys really need to answer this question before anything. Why is it that you remain so mediocre, yet you know so much?
I know I don't need to respond to this, but since he asked, using science-based training, I won Natural Bodybuilding Nationals. I earned my pro card on the most competitive stage in the World Natural Bodybuilding Federation. I placed second in my first bodybuilding pro show, and while doing this, I set the Canadian record on the bench press, and I set a provincial record on the squat. I currently weigh 180 pounds at 5 foot 5 inches tall, which is pretty close to my natural limit given my height and my genetics. That's all besides the point though, because facts are facts. Information is either right or wrong. It doesn't matter who that information is coming from. If the people with the best physiques had the most knowledge, why would C-Bum need a coach? He has the best physique on the planet. Who could possibly know more than him? Well, it's pretty obvious that bodybuilding success comes from great genetics and really hard training, and if you want to make it in the IFBB, steroid use. I like science because it gives me more confidence in what actually works and what doesn't, because it isolates variables. If you trust a big guy's advice over scientific studies, that doesn't bother me. I listen to what big guys have to say too.
Let's look at these comments, man. This Jeff guy has been getting a lot of support. A lot of support from the biggest names out there in fitness, you know, like as you can see, right? Everybody's on his side. They're telling him to sue, you know, class act, glad you're okay, King, da-da-da, glad to hear you're okay. Glad you're okay, man, da-da-da-da-da. Just basically the whole fitness is on his side, which is great. And now we're gonna see the raw footage.
I have no skin in this game. I'm not friends with Mike. I'm not friends with Jeff. I've never spoken in my life to either of them. So whatever I say is not biased. I'm just looking at the situation from the outside and giving my opinion on it. And as I stated in my first video, I said, you know, I always try to reserve judgment on a situation like this, on judging other people until we know the full story. But this situation was so hard for not just me, I think for everybody, because we see a man, right, much bigger than somebody else, almost double his size, a clip 6 seconds long, throwing him across the gym like a rag doll. I mean, it's hard not to jump to conclusions. It's hard not to jump on that person's side, right? But I always felt there has to be more to this. What would cause somebody to want to do this to someone else? Yeah, we know about the online beef, but it's got to be more, right? I also wondered why the clip we saw was only that 4 to 6 seconds long. Like, what happened before? What happened after? And then I learned that there was CCTV footage from the gym. Once I learned that, I said, I got to get my hands on this footage. I need to tell the full story. And it wasn't easy. It was very hard for me to do this, and it was a lot of work to do it. But I got the footage from the CCTV camera in Pure Fitness in Canada. And I'm not going to say too much before we watch the footage, because I'm going to play the footage for us so we can watch it. I'll commentate a little bit. But afterward, I'm going to show you Jeff's original statement of what he made after the incident. And then I'm going to show you some things that seem to be different. And I'm very curious to see what people have to say after they see this. But the footage, again, was very hard to get. But I did everything I could to bring it all to you before anybody else. Well, this is the footage. We're going to take a look together again. The first time watching this, I'm not going to say too much, just a little bit. I'll commentate a little bit, and then I'm going to show you some things that I found here. And it looks like Mike turned around, said something to him. And then Jeff continues working out. And his cameraman is there. We see him filming him. It looks like a nice gym. Now we see Mike over here, okay? So Mike comes over here.
Actually, I want to pause it here, guys. I want to tell you guys this. Notice the size difference between these two guys. You see? Mike is the other dude with the black shirt, bro. He's looking huge as hell. And you see Jeff on the other side, bro. Jeff looking small. I mean, you can see kind of buff through the shirt and all, but like, look at the two size difference. One is like an ogre, bro. You got the other one is like, he's like a dwarf. Like, you can't make it up, man. You can even see it through the CCTV, man. That's crazy. You can see the huge size difference.
To the equipment rack to get something. It doesn't look like he looks at Jeff, and he goes back and he was training his client. And Jeff is there filming. And now watch. So Jeff says something to his cameraman, and it looks like he calls over to Mike. It looks like if you zoom in here, it looks like he calls his name. Mike looks over. His cameraman follows. Jeff says something to his cameraman. And now they go over to Mike. And the camera's pointed at Mike. And now he takes him, he throws him. It looks like he's tripped over that bench. They get closer together. They exchange words. And notice the cameraman put his camera down. He's not filming this footage at this point. I'll get into that later. He takes Jeff again, pushes him by his throat. Jeff has his hands up. He doesn't want any part of this. I don't blame him.
I mean, come on, Mike. I don't want to say Jeff started it because Mike started. He said sup, right? That sup, man, comes in different tones. You know, it could have been passive aggressive, it could have been friendly. You know, you can't really judge a sup. Maybe he was acknowledging it, maybe he was saying hello, or maybe he was just trying to make his presence known, but who knows, all right? Mike started it. But then Mike wants to do his thing at the beginning, right? Now, I'm not telling you guys what side I'm on, who I'm choosing, blah, 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 but like, looking from this, it looks like Jeff approached him. But we can't hear what Jeff said. I don't know why he would react like this knowing the camera is recording. If he was trying to put a show for the cameras, makes sense, but it's kind of crazy, isn't it? Like a logical person wouldn't have reacted. They would have just known, oh, this person is trying to catch me doing something stupid on camera, right? Let me just not give him the attention of the day. But Mike did exactly the opposite of that. He escalated the whole situation. Matter of fact, he even got caught on camera.
And then take a look here at the cameraman.
Now hold up. Why you gotta push the cameraman for? I mean, I get it, Jeff is one thing, but like, why you gotta push the cameraman for? What did he do? He's not involved in your beefs. Matter of fact, my boy here just got paid for his, hourly wage to come shoot this video. So he's not involved in your BS. Only thing maybe that has going on for him here is he has a camera and maybe he was shooting, right? Maybe that's what he could have only done wrong, but aside from that, he didn't deserve the little shove. What for? He's just doing his job. He probably doesn't even know what's going on. In his mind, he's confused as everybody else. He's like, what in the world it just happened? What are they beefing about?
He pushes the cameraman. He walks away. And that's what we have here on the footage. Now, I'm going to slow down the footage in certain areas, right? And I'm going to read to you Jeff's original statement of the incident that happened that day. Because remember, he released this on Instagram and he gave his description of the events that happened. Now I'm going to read his events and I'm going to show you how accurate they are towards what happened. His first statement was, as I was filming bicep curls for a YouTube short, Mike brushed by me and said, "What's up?" This was our first engagement that day. I chuckled. Okay. So let's get to that point here. So we see Mike walk over and he say, "What's up?" And he walked past. Okay. So he walks past him and it looks like you see Jeff, he chuckled. Right there, you could see it clearly that he's smiling. All right. Now, Jeff's next statement, he said, Mike said, "Oh, things are about to get real funny," as he walked past me. So now we see Mike turn around and he probably said, you could see his mouth opening. He's saying, "Oh, things are about to get real funny," as he walked past me. So far, his account of the events are very, very accurate. We know how smart Jeff is. He remembers everything. Okay. So then Jeff states, "I then asked him, 'What did you mean by that?' And I made sure my cameraman was filming in case he tried any funny business." So it looks like they exchanged a little bit more words. You could see Jeff's mouth mumbling over, and Mike looked at him, smiled, and turned around. Now next, this is what Jeff says. This is where it gets very interesting. Then he walked back towards me. He said, "Turn the camera off." And I immediately jabbed me in the throat and I fell onto the floor. However, he's missing this entire part, which I'm going to show you. So I'm going to play this. He looks at his cameraman. This part is not in his statement. And Mike walks over to the equipment rack. And from this, it doesn't look, I'm not even looking at the annotations, it doesn't look like he looks at Jeff. And he walks over to his client. He was training a client that day, I'm assuming. Now, Jeff says something to his cameraman.
Yeah, this part is when Jeff approaches Mike. Even I was confused at that part too, because like he literally approached him with the camera on.
We have the footage, remember. We have a 6-second clip after this. We don't have, you notice the cameraman too. He's filming this the entire time, right? But we don't have that footage. We only have the second Mike grabs him by the throat. That's the only footage we got. So now Jeff is walking towards Mike, says his name, according to this, and if you look at his mouth, it looks like he says Mike. Cameraman is pointing at Mike. Mike says something to him. I'm assuming it's about the camera.
Yeah, now at this part, this is what I meant, guys. Like at this point, right, when Jeff told his cameraman to film whatever, I mean, I don't know why Jeff missed his big point here, right? Like he's the one that did the approaching. Mike did not approach him. Mike said something that upset Jeff, and Jeff wanted some clarity out of it, and that's why he approached Mike. He could have done that without the camera filming. So him having the camera filming, I guess he wanted some kind of a reaction. Now, Mike, I mean, he's not new to the space, bro. You know this is social media, dude. Right? You see a big camera pointing at you, and the guy you despise the most is coming at you and provoking you. Why are you going to give him the show that he's looking for? Especially them cameras are ready to catch you looking stupid. You just gave everybody the show. You would have thought with all those muscles, my guy, the brain would have been also big as well. But what is this? You pushing him in front of the camera? Like, that's even worse.
And he's still filming. And then he pushes Jeff over by his throat over that. Now, I'm going to stop this for a second. I don't agree, and I've spoke about this before. Even though we see here, Jeff is the one who came up to him. I'm going to say again, I don't agree with anyone putting their hands on anyone, regardless if Jeff approached him. Mike made a big mistake here by putting his hands on someone, no matter what he said to him. He has no right to do that.
And that's what I'm saying, right? Mike shouldn't have touched Jeff at all. Right? You guys can exchange words, blah, blah, blah. You can talk the talk, whatever. But do not put your hands on him. Once you do that, no matter if you're on the right or on the wrong, whatever, you are already the villain. You know what I mean? You're gonna get crucified, no matter if you're the victim. Because you raised your hand, you started swinging first. So it's always like that, right? Whoever gets swung at first is gonna always be viewed as the victim. No matter if he was running his mouth way before or whatever, he's always gonna be seen as a victim, and you're gonna be seen as the aggressor. So I mean, in this situation, even if Mike was the victim, whatever, he just looked plain stupid. He looks like the aggressor. As a matter of fact, he's also huge, right? His size compared to Jeff's dwarf size doesn't do him any favors.
So he goes to him here again. They exchange words, and I'm going to read Jeff's statement here so you guys know what the conversation was here, according to Jeff. I stood back up, and he told me to never talk about him ever again, and then he jabbed me in the throat a second time. So I'm assuming this is what they're talking about here with each other. And then after this, according to his statement, he grabbed him by the throat. Again, right there, and it's very accurate. Like I said, this entire statement by Jeff is very accurate. It looks like they're exchanging. Jeff has his hands up. And again, Mike should not be putting his hands on somebody who's defenseless. He has his hands up. He's not looking for a fight, and he's not posing a threat. Mike says something else to him, and this is his cameraman over here. His cameraman. Now this part here, I can't tell when he's walking back if he actually hits the cameraman or if the cameraman hits him. I can't really tell from this footage. You can't really see from this angle, but obviously you can see Mike pushing the cameraman. Again, this is a kid. We don't know how old he is. I'm actually hearing that he is 19 years old. He's not underage, but Mike should not do that. You shouldn't put your hands on anybody. Then after that, Mike walks away. So now, remember when I was saying, you know, when Jeff released this clip, we only had the 6 seconds, 4 seconds, however long it was. We didn't have the entire thing. So we couldn't see what happened before or after, right? So now I want you to pay attention to the camera, okay? The camera's filming this entire time right here where Mike walks past. We can't hear really what was said, only by what they're saying, right? So we see the camera's filming, but we don't have this footage, even though it's being filmed. And I'm going to show you something here now because you could see the camera up into the point where it stops filming. So now he's still filming Jeff this entire time. We might be able to hear a conversation here if we had the sound, but we don't. So all this is being filmed, which is footage that we don't have. At that point, Mike goes back. Okay, now this is key here because what's said over here, and it's still being filmed, we don't have. We do have, not when he says Mike's name, or I'm assuming it's Mike's name. We don't have that in the footage either. We have the footage right after this. Right after Jeff says something to the cameraman, this is when we have the footage right here. And that's the footage we have, and then it's cut off. Now notice the cameraman. He puts his camera down, okay? His camera gets put down after this. It's no longer being filmed by him. So the only footage we have of this part is the security footage because his camera's not filming. You see, he has it by his side. And I'm going to fast forward a little bit over here. And notice, okay, it's still not being filmed by his cameraman. So none of this is being filmed. But my question is this. This part here, all of this, was filmed by his cameraman. But they released only that 6-second clip. Why did they only release that 6 clip when the footage from prior to that we see here is so important? We need to see what was being said to understand the full story.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I reacted on the first video here, and it was only over that 10-second, whatever, 6-10-second clip. Now, having seen this, it sheds more light into the whole situation. Quite interesting. Yeah, I'm wondering the same thing. Why are we missing pieces of this footage? You know, especially if it was being filmed. The only thing that could come into mind is if maybe the cameraman didn't start the camera while the situation started and then pressed record after, right? So that's what's on my mind. But at the end of the day, judging from now what we see, it looks like it was just a built-up anger from previous back and forth. Now Jeff, whatever it was, whatever he was thinking, decided to, you know, go question Mike with the camera still recording. Mike, this is where how stupid he got, right? Him knowing the camera's on his face and everything, and he's put on a spot to look stupid. He actually fell through and ended up looking even way stupider. But his biggest mistake was noticing that camera recording and deciding to get physical and put on a show for them cameras. That's why he looks like the big bad wolf right now. It's crazy, man. But yeah, guys, leave a comment. Let me know what you all thought about this. What's your guys' opinion? Who's on the right and who's on the wrong, right? Because now things have gotten definitely interesting now that we got this footage. And I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. Catch you on the next one. Peace.